Hello and welcome back to the Scenario 7 podcast. My name is Sam and today I'm here with two fantastic co-hosts. It's Robert Constantine and Joe Roberts. How are you two doing?
I'm doing good, Sam. How are you?
I'm all good. How are you, Rob?
I'm great, Sam. I'm great.
That is great to hear, mate. And we are here for a Bahrain preview. The previews are back. They're back for 2022. We've changed it around a bit, but it is back. And we're really excited as it is race week. We can't wait for the season to get started. Just a few days away now. And yeah, let's get straight into the preview. And we're going to start with a new section on the podcast called Have I Got F1 News for You? And this is before we go into depth about Bahrain and the track and our predictions. We're going to look at some of the news from the week, a specific headline. I'm going to read out the majority of the headline, and Robert and Joe in this instance are going to try and fill in the missing word. And so we get the headline, and then we could talk a bit about it. So let me get us started with this. So I've chosen the headline: Lewis Hamilton announces he is changing his blank ahead of the F1 season.
He announces that he's changing his name.
There we go. First time guest, Joe. You weren't quick enough yet.
I honestly thought we were going to do one at a time. I'll be more certain of that it's surname.
No, the headline, Joe, just his name. So I'll get Robert. You get full points. Ding, ding, ding. That was the Mirror's headline after Lewis Hamilton announced he's in the process of changing his name to incorporate his mother's last name, La Ballester. And I've definitely butchered that, but La Ballester is the way I should have pronounced it. There we go. Second time was a lot better. He doesn't understand why women lose their last name when they get married, and they're doing it. He is doing it, to honor her. What do you guys think about this? Some people have been calling him a virtual signaler, which I think is nonsense. But what do you think about him changing his name to incorporate his mother's name?
I think it's brilliant, and it just goes to show how deep Lewis's respect for his family is, and how it goes back to his days before all the fame, before the money, when all he had was, well, mostly his dad for the racing career, but also his mother. And what he's been doing in respect to promoting the idea of getting more women into motorsports has also been amazing, especially for last week for International Women's Day, when he had that post on Instagram commemorating some wonderful achievements that women have made in the sport. And this is just great. I think he does make a pretty good point. Why would you want to lose that name? The fact that he's proud of both of his parents' names, that's just it's a normal thing for anyone who has love and respect for their family, I think.
Joe, what do you think about it?
I personally think it's people's, as in people can have their own opinions on how they want their as Robert says, surnames to be, if they want to incorporate mothers and their father's name. I think that's fine, or just do mother's surname, as I know some people have. But yeah, I understand why he's done it, but it seems, I don't know, as in I wouldn't call it what the people are saying, it's signal. Was it what you said, signal?
Virtue signaling.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's that. I think he has the right to change his name how he pleases, as in everybody else does. But for me, yeah, I'm happy just sticking to the surname on the on my father's side.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's now move on to the track, the Bahrain circuit that we're going to be seeing drivers driving on competitively, because we've been seeing them in practice. Or, well, Robert, you've been staying away from practice, but I've been seeing them driving around in practice and seeing these beautiful new cars that are going to be closer this year, hopefully, much closer racing. But yeah, this track, 5.4 kilometer long circuit. There'll be 57 laps with 15 corners and 3 DRS zones. So yeah, we've got the Bahrain circuit. What do you think about this track? I mean, it's been chosen as the season opener. Do you think this place is a good place to start the season, or do you think there's other places you'd rather go? And do you think it's a good track in general as well?
Who do you want to start there? So,
Either of you.
so Robert, do you want me to start or?
Yeah, go on.
I think it's a good track to go to, considering is at night now. I think the only problem I have with this track is probably the tires. As in, the tires have to, kind of make it. I think the problem in general F1, I don't think it's the cars. For me, it's always been the tires, as it's never been a potential one stop, as there's 2 different strategies you can go, like having 2 stops and 1 stops, I think, or even having 3 stops or something extreme. I remember that happening. I remember that happening in I think 10 years ago, when there was like 3 stops, but what was the fastest strategy with. So yeah, as in, I think the tires are the main thing. And you could easily go back to the human rights issue in Bahrain as well. So it's kind of kind of a mixed bag, as in there's stuff, as in general, these Middle East countries, there's controversy behind it, but then again, I think F1 needs to show that positivity, and show what is, I won't say acceptable, because acceptable in modern day society at the moment.
I wouldn't talk about the controversy, because I don't think that's relevant at the moment. We're just focusing on a racetrack, and if you compare it to the other Middle Eastern tracks, I think it's the most exciting. I think it's the one that offers the greatest racing. It's got that massively long start straight, where a lot of drivers will surely get a lot of overtaking done this weekend, in that tight hairpin-esque combination of the turns 1 and 2. You've got a very technical and tough sector 2, which can easily ruin your lap. You need to be perfect through there. And then sector 3 on that final DRS straight. It's a beautiful track. It's got a lot of great corners. It's not the greatest in terms of, or it didn't used to be the greatest in terms of on-track action, if you don't count the actual main straight that I talked about. But hopefully with the new cars, we might see some moves being done in some places that we haven't seen anything done before. There's obviously the tire degradation issue in Bahrain has always been a thing, and I do agree with Joe. I think that's probably the only reason why the race might not be as exciting. or it might make it more exciting. If we get different strategies, that'll be brilliant. If we see a 3-stop, which would be faster than a 2-stop, I'd actually be happy. I'd be impressed, because we've not seen a 3-stop in a while, as Joe said. But yeah, I do like the track. Is it a great opener? Maybe. I'm still, I still really want to race at Australia again. I missed the track, and I think that was a brilliant opener. But Bahrain is a solid track. It proved to be great last year as a first race. It had the drama, and it might bring the drama back this year.
Yeah, no, to be honest, I'm going to agree with you. As much as I think Perth or Australia, not Perth, Australia is my preferred track. I do like Bahrain. I think it's very solid, as you said. The main straight, fantastic overtaking spot. We saw a lot of drivers make use of that last year, and with these new cars, that's only going to increase. I think that because we have testing in Bahrain, it does make sense to have the first race in Bahrain. I think from a logistical point of view as well, it's just so much easier. It means that they don't have to move within the week to another country. They can just stay where they are. I think from a lot of stances, that's a good thing. But yeah, I very much like this track. I think there's many drivers had success with it. I mean, Sergio Perez, admittedly on the other circuit, but a lot of it's the same. So he's had a lot of success on the main track as well, getting a podium with Force India. So yeah, no, I think Bahrain's very solid as a season opener. It's pretty good, very technical. Sector 2, as you said, that turn 10 is a very tough corner. And yeah, no, I don't mind Bahrain at all. I think it's very solid. So very much look forward to this season, especially with the new cars at this track. Now let's go back to last year, looking at the last race in Bahrain. So let me first go over what happened. So we had Max Verstappen was the person on pole. We had drama before the race even started when Sergio Perez broke down up on the formation lap, but started in the pits and actually went on to finish 5th in a very impressive drive. Mazepin ended his F1 debut race early, going off by the exit of turn 3 on the first lap. You had Alonso retiring with a brake issue, but the main event was a first glimpse at the Hamilton versus Verstappen battle, which we would end up seeing all season long. Verstappen, of course, overtaking Lewis off track, but had to give it back, and Lewis just about held on much older tyres to win the race, with Verstappen coming second and Bottas coming third. So a very good opener last year, and it definitely set the tone for the rest of the season. What is a certain memory? What is your favourite moment from last year?
My favorite moment from last year is probably, as you repeated there, Sam, the Verstappen Hamilton battle. I think it kind of showcased what was to come for the season, if you could foreshadow it, and what I would say controversy was going to come out of decisions that the FIA made in that race, and also the tactical games that Verstappen and Red Bull were playing as well. So yeah, I think that was probably my, I would say, iconic moment there, because it kind of shows what was going to happen in the rest of the season. And also it was, even you could just focus on that race, it was a brilliant battle, and made, I think, F1 more on the map for people who just started out watching the sport.
Yeah, my most memorable moment that you did mention was probably the debut of Nikita Mazepin. He had a shocking qualifying he spun multiple times throughout the weekend. All eyes were on him for the race, and he did not disappoint. 3 corners, he spun and he's out. What a brilliant start to that Grand Prix for Mazepin. Admittedly, he did improve throughout the season, so fair play to him. But I think that was probably one of the funniest moments that everyone was expecting. And even on the commentary, because all we saw was a Haas just spin and hit the wall. And then only in the replay we were able to see that it was Mazepin. But Crofty knew. Everyone knew that was Mazepin. And no one even thought about Schumacher spinning there. So I think that was just, it was a brilliant moment. It was just funny. Everyone wanted to see it, not necessarily wanted, but we were expecting to see it. And then when we did, we're not really surprised, but it was sort of enjoyable. In a sadistic way, I'm going to say it was enjoyable. But yeah, I'm happy that Mazepin did learn from his mistakes later on in the season, and he did not go on to repeat that failed first race. But yeah, that's what I remember from Bahrain 2021.
It was almost the perfect start for Mazepin. It was just, you couldn't write it really. It was just like lasting 3 quarters. I mean, there were a few people who thought he wouldn't finish, but not even lasting the first lap. No, that was impressive. And crashing on his own accord as well. It was definitely impressive from him. Let's move on now to our predictions. So we've got some new ones this year, and we're going to put it on in a little league table between the people doing this podcast now, and of course Josh and Matt, that we could put together for the season. And we got some new ones that I haven't actually decided a point scoring system. I'll work it out at some point, but the new ones are, so we got first overtake. So this is predicting who's going to get the first overtake and what lap. So they're 2, of course, there'll be separate points, like it'll be a bonus point for whatever lap. First accident and lap. So this could just be crashing into a wall, crashing into someone else, or even just spinning and then just continuing. So that's first accident. First safety car or red flag. So who caused it and what lap. First pit stop, which is, tough. So that's which driver and which lap. And then the final one, first blue flag. So that's the first driver to get lapped and what lap that's on. And I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna be daring and throw my predictions out there first. So for first overtake, I've gone for Sergio Perez, and I've gone on lap 1. I feel like first overtake will always be on lap 1, so that's pretty easy. So that's points in the bag anyway. But the reason I've gone for Perez is, as much as I love him, he's not incredible at qualifying, but his racecraft is very good, and he normally makes his way through the grid quite often. So that's what I see him doing and getting the first overtake. For first accident, I've just gone Lance Stroll on lap 4. Just a bit of a random one. Don't really have an explanation, but he's the one I've gone for. First safety car, red flag. It's not Lance Stroll, but it is the other Aston Martin. It's Sebastian Vettel on lap 19. He did cause, I don't think he caused a safety car, but he did cause a crash last year, rear-ending Esteban Ocon. So he's my prediction for first safety car red flag on lap 19, Sebastian Vettel. First pit stop will be Lance Stroll on lap 4 with damage after the first accident. It's a genius move there. And then first blue flag, I'm going to go Guan Yu Zhou I think he'll be running in last very likely. And lap 44. What have you guys gone for?
Robert, do you want to say yours?
Right, I'll go first then. So for the first overtake, I had to go for someone in the midfield because I'm not expecting the guys at the top to push too hard in the first lap. And I've gone with Sebastian Vettel on lap 1. So I do get that point for the first lap, Sam. Thank you very much. First crash, I've gone with Bottas and Magnussen. I reckon they'll collide on lap 1. And the reason why I think there'll be a crash on lap 1 is because with the new cars, the drivers won't know how to react, driving side by side. So I reckon Bottas and Magnussen will crash. That will bring out a safety car on lap 1. Magnussen will be out, and Bottas will have the first pit stop on lap 1 with damage. And I did not copy your prediction, Sam. I had this written down way before you mentioned Vettel's pit in lap 4, no, Stroll. Yeah. And the first blue flag will be Latifi.
What lap?
Oh, lap. Oh, I need to think about this. I reckon about lap 25.
There we go. Joe, what are you thinking?
Overtake, I put Alonso off the start because there's a flaw in your
Yeah,
thing.
I'm just giving people 3 points.
Yeah, and lap 1. Crash Verstappen, lap 20. I think he will do something reckless and what he usually does and force somebody to avoid him. Safety car will be Stroll, lap 31. First pit stop is Leclerc at lap 11. And then Latifi, blue flag, lap 41.
2 Latifis for blue flag. They're very, very interesting. We'll see how it goes. If anyone gets driver and lap for a few of them, that'll be very impressive. But now on to just finally predicting the top 3. So predicting the podium for this weekend's race in Bahrain. We haven't had a race, so it's definitely very up in the air. But starting from 3rd and finishing with 1st, who do you guys have on the podium?
I've gone with Hamilton P3. I think they're just at the moment. I think they're not at a level where Ferrari are at in terms of consistency. I think Red Bull are too one, as in they remind me of the McLaren car that was just really quick, but maybe just very poor reliability. So I think they might have some problems. I put Hamilton P3, and then going off the consistency of for Ferrari, I put Sainz P2 and Leclerc winning the race and getting redemption for 2018, I believe. I think was.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Was it 2018, 19? I think wasn't he at Alpha in 2017?
Yeah, I think it's 2018 because he had that engine problem. But anyway,
that's irrelevant. We'll get slated in the comments. Right, P3, Max Verstappen. P2, Charles Leclerc. P1, Lewis Hamilton.
Ooh.
I'm going for a shocker. I think we won't be surprised. We won't see a result that's too much different from last year. I don't know why, but I'm expecting Lewis and Max to be on the podium again. Even though I still think Lewis will not win the championship, I think he'll have a great first race.
Very interesting. I think Leclerc was 2019. I just did some quick research there where he lost power.
He was at Alpha in 2018. Wasn't
Yeah.
it?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Apologies.
It's all good.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's only 1 year. It's all good. But for my prediction, I have got Lewis Hamilton third. I think that they do have a few problems. I think that it will take them a few weeks to iron it out and get a setup that both drivers are comfortable with. So I've got him in third. In second, I've got Max Verstappen. I think that the Red Bull does look quick and will start the season pretty well before kind of fading away as the season goes on, almost like McLaren. I feel like something to that effect. But then first, I've got Charles Leclerc making up for 2019 winning the race, and he's going to have a fantastic year, and I think he'll have a fantastic start. But yeah, that wraps up our podcast previewing the Bahrain Grand Prix in 2022. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Remember to like, subscribe, download, whatever you need to do. Remember to follow us on social medias down below to keep up to date with all we've got on. We hope you enjoy the race this weekend. F1 is back and we're so happy about it. But yeah, thank you for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.